Twój startup.
Hello, today I am with Pawel Orlow, who
Hi.
works with our foundation. Hi.
Hello, Mara.
I know that Paweł is doing a very interesting thing for his living, and let's start with explaining what you do.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Marta, for the opportunity to be here with
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you to work with this foundation. So, actually, I'm a music producer slash composer, and my primary goal to compose music for different kind of media, ads, game music, and probably film music. So that's my main occupation.
Okay, I think it's interesting, as I said at the beginning. So tell us how it all began.
Yeah, so before I switched to composing stuff, I was a professional musician. I worked on different companies or as a session musician, bass player, upright bass player, arranger also. And during the COVID, I thought how I can develop my career, how I can make something new for me. I know one guy who knows me.
Okay.
And
it's always about the connection.
It's all about the connection, yeah, different. So he asked me, can I compose one short track for a computer game? It was 2 years ago. Yeah, and that was the first experience for me. I didn't know how to compose game music, how to...
You played games before?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I was a huge gamer at the age of like 14, 16, yeah, that was. I started to compose. It was kind of like smooth jazz, short track, maybe 2 minutes. I thought it would be like total disaster. I thought he said to me, "Oh no, sorry, just we cannot go with it." But I was really surprised when he said, yeah, that's what we were looking for. So, and he asked, can you do also like something different for me, classical stuff for other game? And I started to work more and more, and luckily for me, I found that kind of music relations between games and between like composing stuff very attractive, and I think I like it more than when I was just a performer as a musician. So I thought, okay, I want to sit as a nerd at home and work only as a composer. How I can work in that area, how I can develop my career there, how I can find new opportunities, maybe new game developers or something else. And that's what I'm looking for right now. Still, I'm working in that areas. I'm looking for new clients, and this is also very attractive part of this job, because as a musician, you always kind of waiting when someone will call you and ask, can you record the bass? Can you play with us? And here you work more as a music manager, as a content manager, and all that areas, and this is very attractive for me. So yeah, I can say definitely that no matter that I'm sitting at home most of the time during the day with a computer and Logic Pro or like different DAW, but it's still a very interesting and very attractive job for a lot of people, because everyone wants to be a creator and make music for something monumental, like movies. And when you see, like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first thing you popping in your head, it's the music of Hans Zimmer.
It was the first song which I learned to play on the guitar.
actually, you know what I mean. So yeah, and I can say it maybe dream job for me, definitely, because I'm from musical family. My parents also musicians, and I cannot live without music. So And when I can create something, like I can create worlds for games or for different characters, it makes me so inspired to work in that area, in this profession.
You compose music for video games, but do you have any experience with composing for example, movies or adverts?
Adverts, yeah. My last client was Alibaba Group. It's a Chinese
Yeah,
company, yeah. And I did the showreel, music for their showreel. It also was really interesting experience for me because the whole process, how we built the commercial showreel, was kind of backward. So we started with the music, then they created a video showreel on the music, and then we started to like make some adjustments. And most of the time, for example, games, or when I work with a couple of Belarusian commercials for Belarusian companies, it also started with the video, and then you like trying, okay, I see this, I should like show something from the video, I should like make this happen in the music to adjust it to the video. But here was totally different process, and it also very interesting because you never know how the developers, how the company wants to work, and yeah. But actually, I have never had an experience to work for films, and this is my goal, to try myself there. So yeah.
So we wish you luck.
Thank you.
But for the moment, you feel the most video games.
Yeah.
And I wonder how you start working with the creating music. For example, you of course know the title of the game, you know the plot, you know the characters, the situation.
Of course,
how
yeah.
it looks
so
like.
first thing, when you start to work on the music, you have a couple of calls with the game developers, with the sound designers, and they try to explain you the story, actually, characters, story, how all these things should move into this game. Maybe they can show you some examples in gameplay, which also very helpful. And then you start to implement all these things into your music. So you start to find, for example, how can I show the main character, how I can tell the story there. For example, I can find some instrument that will express the main character. For example, I will use strings when the main character appears, or how I can show something.
Creative.
Yeah. So probably the longest part of the creative process, it's when you just sit with maybe like paper and trying to figure out how to use all the small parts and connect them together to, because it's not so good when the gamer can really hear the music. He should like feel it when he should feel the vibe or like
game.
when danger, if we can speak about dungeons, some kind of dungeons, the gamer should feel the danger. He shouldn't like listen the danger, he should feel.
Like in horrors, you hear
example,
the music and
tension.
you know that something bad is going on.
Right. So this is the main thing in the game music. Also, the most attractive in the game music, that all these elements should implement in the game process. Because when we can speak about ads music, commercial music, or film music, you always have one story. For example, about the movies, you see the main character and this is his journey in the movie or in the commercial. But when we speak about game, you as a main character can go whenever you want. You can go there, you can go there, and for example, if you choose that way, it will be some like monsters there, or if you will go that way, it will be like safe place. And all music should like show you these criterias. And probably this is the hardest part, because it's not about the composing music, it's more about implement all these things. For example, you should work with the F mode programs, which allows you to implement music and implement all these criteria. And you should be more kind of creative in a 3D visual of music. It's not like about 2D story. You should think, okay, so right now we have day-night changes. How I can use that to show the music.
It's
and
very difficult process.
yeah. For example, you should like compose 2 tracks that will goes in the same time, and you should like switch between them. So all this very attractive, interesting things there.
So how long it takes for you to compose a music for one video game?
It's
Months?
for example, sometimes if you work for a kind of like mobile apps games, I know kind of just when you should crash something like tapping on the screen, it's all about just music, background music, and the same music, and it just should like show you maybe, for example, if it's style of ancient Egypt, it should like shows you ancient Egypt's vibes. But if we can speak about some like hard game, when you should implement
like the ones you told us before.
So yeah, it can be like 6 months, maybe a year, for example. And if you will work on some like easy time-killing apps, mobile games, it can be 1 track per week. It depends on games and what actually music should do there. If it's just like a background music, it's always like pretty easy. It's more about sound design there. Like very comfortable sounds when you tapping on the different things, etc. But when we start to work on something more like hard and more like game designing things, where you can move your character when you have story, it's things gets more complicated.
Do you remember the project which were you the happiest about?
It was the last. I cannot tell you a lot about this project because it's still in
a secret.
It's still a secret. So it's indie Spain indie developer, and so it kind of like horror anime style of game. And I remember, so they had that idea. So in one moment, like you can see the TV screen there, and I should play it there. So I did super crazy weird music, and they like asked me to film myself with the computer, where I just sit like yeah. So it was like pretty fun. It was my last project, and it's very interesting to work on the horrors, because all the time horrors, it's all about the music and tension, how you can use these tensions. And it also introduced myself there, which is also good for me and interesting for me. So yeah, that was maybe the most interesting project in the game industry.
Okay, I want to ask you also about the Polish industry connected with creating music for video games, because you are from Belarus and you moved to Poland because you told me, which was a really surprise for me, that Polish industry, it's like the top of the world. Maybe
almost.
Almost.
I think almost, because you have really strong game developers here in Poland. Of course, we can speak about CD Projekt Red. It's maybe one of the best or the best companies right now. It's a huge company, and they produce such great games like Cyberpunk or with The Witcher, which like the iconic book, a Polish book. I don't know about Netflix TV show, because I have never seen that.
Okay.
But the game is also great. I played maybe in the first or second. I know that the last one was really great, and also the music. The composers from Poland they're really, really great because I heard a lot about your music academies. Actually, I thought that I want to study here in Poland, in the Katowice, but because I'm Belarus, it was really hard if you study in Belarus and then like you want to go here in European Union. So it was like closed doors for me. But yeah, so if we can speak about game developers, there is a plenty of great indie game developers or like huge companies. And if we will speak about composers, it's also very strong composers. I know a couple of names here, like Pawel Orlow or Martin Kuchevsky, etc. So unfortunately, right now I forgot who worked on the music for CD Projekt Red,
but it's good to know that Polish composers are really good.
Right, and they worked not only here in Poland, they also worked for different companies like Netflix. I know that a couple of Polish composers worked for a famous TV show Love, Death and Robots for Netflix, and it's also great. As you remember, that Netflix show Queen's Gambit is also Polish. I'm not sure, but yeah.
We have to check it.
Yeah, we have to check it. But yeah, I really happy that I already had an opportunity to meet a couple of your Polish composers, and they just blew my mind because the things how they spoke about it, how they spoke about composing, understanding harmony, understanding how to implement music, how to connect it with the screen or like the story. It's high level.
So what can you say about your first days, maybe weeks in Poland? You started working with our foundation from the very beginning?
Right, yeah. So I thought, okay, I want to move here. I thought only about the Poland and how I can work here as a freelancer, how I can work as a composer here, because it's only about the freelance work. So yeah, I started to check how Belarusian citizen can work here, and I found only one opportunity for me, and that was companies like company Twist Startup. So actually, your company was the first one in the Google. So I thought, okay, why not? I just send a message, and maybe in a couple of days, your manager already sent me a message, and we had a conversation with her. I'm pretty happy with the opportunity to work with your company because everything you happy me to settle here, to understand how your economics, how your laws works well, and I feel really comfortable to how I can produce my music here, and I think only about the music. And I think for like all creative persons, it's most important thing not to think about how I should like go and some government stuff.
Okay,
and
all the finances stuff.
Yeah. So, and you should like you can think about only how to compose and be creative, and I think it's really important. And thank you for opportunity.
That's very nice, and so at the end I have to wish you luck for your future, and thank you for the conversation.
Thank you too.
Startup Generation. Rozmawiamy o tym, jak zamienić pasję w biznes.